next keynote address will be on the evolution of digital assets custody. And it will be given by a gentleman by the name of Junde. He is the head of global sales at Cobo. And so for those of us who are still in this room, as we wait for the rest of our colleagues to come through, can we give Junde a warm welcome?
Hi, my name is Junde and I'm from Cobo. You can also call me JD, okay? It's actually my first time in Africa. I'm so excited. I feel so impressed with the warm hospitality and also the passion that I see. And most importantly, I'm very impressed by the drive to build on the blockchain and to build a lot of use cases that are related to real life utility. This is not something that I see in all markets. So that's something special going on here. So today I'm very excited to share with you what we see in the global space, everything that's happened in the past 12 months, all the major events, and how it's inspired innovation in the digital asset custody space. Okay. So before that, a quick introduction about us. Okay. So Cobo, we are a licensed omni-custody provider for digital assets. When we say omni-custody, we mean we provide different types of custody solutions powered by different technology, different business models for all kinds of companies. Okay, we are currently trusted by over 500 institutions globally with billions of assets under custody. We've been in business for 5 years and with 0 security incidents. We have military-grade technology and we are software certified as well. And today we are licensed in 5 jurisdictions across Singapore, Hong Kong, US, Lithuania, and Dubai. Okay, and these are some of the customers across funds, market makers, Web2 companies, Web3 companies, banks, mining companies, and so on that trust in our products and services. Okay, and a little bit about myself. So I run the global sales team at Cobo. Okay, formerly I was running a global vertical at a Web2 SaaS company pre-IPO. Okay, I'm one of those guys that went from Web2 to Web3, and I started as a retail crypto crypto investor in 2017. And along the way, I also invested in True Global Ventures, which is an early investor in companies like Animoca and Sandbox. Okay. So, quick introduction about digital assets custody. So, digital asset custody accounted for over 20% of the total funding going into the blockchain industry from 2 years ago. And of course, this percentage has risen over the last 2 years, especially from money coming through institutions, coming through investment vehicles. So I think for everyone, I'd just like to do a very quick introduction of what is digital asset custody, because when talking to people here, people ask, is it like Ledger? Is it like MetaMask? Something like that, but it's actually more for enterprise, more for businesses, more for companies. Okay, so it's like a bank where you want to safekeep your customers' digital assets and private keys, but we do it very safely for you, especially when you have millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars. You want some security, you want some insurance, that's where you entrust it to custody. Okay, number one, safekeeping. And number two, enhanced security, workflows, policies, recovery features. Okay, let me emphasize on workflow. Let's say you have a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars, and you have your payroll department, you have your department that pays vendors, you have your trading department, staking department, but you can't give your private key or ledger to everyone. So this is where you could use the custodial technology, and we could provide logins for everyone. Only the owners of the company would have the keys, but we could provide logins to everyone. Like the payroll department could withdraw only USDT at the end of the month. The trading team can only withdraw to specific exchanges and with a certain threshold per day, and so on. So you could enable this efficiency while not compromising on security. Okay, and of course, recovery features. That's very big for enterprise, especially, people tend to lose the keys. There's a way to recover. So this is a form of insurance as well. Okay, with all this would then form the foundation for a whole suite of other services to grow and flourish on the platform. So things like your exchanges, your banks, your prime brokerage, accounting, DeFi, staking, OTC, all this could happen on custody platforms. Okay, so custody is the gateway to institution adoption of crypto. But it's not just institutions like those you see in New York or Hong Kong and Singapore, but this is for any company that has assets that they need to secure. Okay, generally, if you have raised at least a few $1 million, this is time where you start to look beyond just having a ledger or a multi-sig wallet. Okay, Next, I'd like to share some inspirations, a quote that from this inspirational person that drives our company. Okay, this is Mr. Huang Zhenxun. He's the CEO of NVIDIA. What he says is that if you're in an industry that's changing this fast, if you do not keep reinventing yourselves, you'll just slowly die. And he was talking about the computer chips industry. Imagine this on the blockchain industry. Imagine what has happened every month. A few months ago it was FTX, and then after that it was SVB, Silvergate, and so on. What next? So every industry event drives new innovations, and we as blockchain companies in this space, we have to adapt very quickly. Okay, and to that end, Cobo has been around for 5 years. We do have a history of self-reinventing. We actually started as a B2C wallet. We quickly were able to get millions of users globally, and actually met one of the early users here as well yesterday. That was very impressive. But despite that success, we pivoted. We decided to go into centralized custody, where we help the high net worth and also a lot of enterprises keep the assets. And this was centralized. Centralized meaning we keep the keys for you, we keep the coins for you, just like a bank, and you trust us to keep it for you safe. And we've done that for 5 years. Okay, but despite that, and then especially with the events of last year, we've pivoted into omni custody, where we now provide a whole range of centralized and decentralized solutions, including off-exchange solutions, which we will talk about in a bit. Okay, so to that end, today, this is our whole suite of solutions, omni custody. So in terms of custody, we fulfill custody with 3 types of technology. Number 1, MPC, which stands for multi-party computation. Okay, this is a decentralized form of enterprise wallet, where you, as the customer, you are the only one that can unilaterally move the coins. Then next is HSM, which is hardware security modules. This is centralized custody, where we hold the coins and keys for you safe. And then lastly, we have also Argus, which is our D-app built on top of Gnosis Safe. Okay, it is smart contract custody. It's also our product for the longer tail of startups and DeFi teams, DAOs, and so on. Okay, next, we also have hybrid wallet as a service, where we combine the best of hot wallets and cold wallets to provide a API suite that is catered to a lot of B2C companies to scale up their operations, to provide wallets to provide cross-chain wallets to support lots of tokens and coins. And lastly, we have a new product. It's called Superloop, which is an off-exchange settlement product, which I will go into in a bit. Okay. So next, I want to talk about the events in the industry that have driven innovation, evolution, and then also inspired a lot of new innovation from tech companies like us. Okay. The first big thing, and unfortunately so, there's a lot of security incidents in this space. Okay. So this results in lack of trust, loss of trust, and also a lot of loss of funds. So how have custody companies dealt with this? Okay, so the first thing would be the MPC technology. Okay, MPC over the last 12 to 24 months has emerged as leading technology that's powering decentralized enterprise wallets. MPC stands for multi-party computation. Okay, and at Cobo we use this MPC TSS, which stands for multi-party computation threshold signature scheme. So in this kind of wallet setup, a private key is generated as shards. Okay, it's generated as at least 3 key shards or more. Okay, and in Cobo's setup, how we do this is that there are 3 key shards. We need 2 out of 3 key shards to sign every transaction. And here's the key thing: there is a third party involved in our setup. Okay, in our setup of the 3 key shards, one key will be held by the customer, 1 key will be held by us, and the last key is an offline backup key. That one is held by a neutral third-party trusted player. And today we have companies like CoinCover, Numan, Nimin. These are generally insurance companies or cybersecurity companies that will hold the backup key for you. Okay, they hold the backup key. It's offline. They're not supposed to come online to sign. They only come online when you need to recover. And we provide soft key recovery and hard key recovery. Soft key recovery is when you lose your when you lose your key. Then they will come online, and us and them, we will combine to restore your keys. What's hard key recovery? Hard key recovery is if Cobo goes down, goes bankrupt, goes offline, disappears, you and them could still come online to restore your keys at another MPC provider. Okay, so that's hard key recovery. We are able to provide, so this is MPC technology, it's more of custodial technology. We provide this technology to customers. They are their own custodians. And this comes with a whole range of security and recovery features as well. Okay, so MPC, this is something to note for enterprise, especially for enterprises that want to hold their own keys and want to be in control of the funds. Okay, next. So Cobo does provide a whole suite of solutions. We have centralized with MPC, we have long tail smart contract custody, but I want to talk about the main two, which is centralized custody and MPC custody. Since the FTX event, everyone's talking about not your keys, not your coins. But we tell people, it's not always that. Firstly, do you have physical security in your office? Or are you just putting the ledger in a safe and the safe deposit box is under the boss's table? Is that it? Do you have software security, hardware security, server-side security? Are all your employees trained and tested on security? If yes, great. MPC, not your keys, not your coins, that is perfect for you, and we have that as well. If you don't, you can also consider entrusting it to a centralized custody company, because companies like that, and also like us, we've spent tens of millions of dollars on the security, on the R&D. We've done this safely, secured customer funds for 5 years with no incidents. So what we're saying is that it's not always not your keys, not your coins. It's not that centralized is safer or bank is safer. It depends on the setup of your organization. What do you have? What are you good at? Where do you want to spend most of the resources on? Okay. So what we're saying is that one size does not fit all. And there are other customized considerations, criteria like customizability. You need multi-chain. Can you clear KYC? Like for instance, for the MPC technology, we actually do minimal KYC because we're just providing technology. You are your own custodian, all right? Recovery process and so on. Okay. The last thing about security, how we are trying to improve security in this space. Risk policies. Okay. Every custody platform, every bank or exchange, everyone says they're secure. But one thing to note is that there are multiple layers of security. And one important and often understated layer of security would be this, what we call risk policies. Because, to be honest, most of the hacks, thefts in this industry, they involve someone on the inside. There's someone on the inside that, got phished or had ill intent or whatever, right? So there was also a similar attempt back in November on one of our customers, Deribit. Deribit is one of the, I think they are the global biggest derivatives exchange. Someone did manage to log it into their custody accounts. Okay? And that someone was trying to withdraw. But despite that, because of risk policies, so what happened here is that our risk control system automatically detected that the withdrawal request was abnormal. And we just stopped it. Okay, so this is a layer of security that may not be present in every company. So it's also good to evaluate that they have multiple layers of security, including risk policies. Okay, so that was about security. The next big event that's driven a lot of innovation, evolution in our space even, would be a loss of trust due to a lot of recent events. So if you visit ftx.com right now, you will see this notice. Okay, and since this thing happened, a lot of funds, a lot of investors have become a lot more apprehensive about sending tokens, transferring tokens to exchanges to trade. So there's loss of trust in the exchanges. So a few top custodians globally, including us, we've come up with what we call off-exchange settlement solutions. And Cobo has launched Superloop, which is our off-exchange custodian and settlement network. So basically, this is an off-exchange settlement network. It allows institutions to trade on exchanges while maintaining full control of the funds. So using MPC custody, basically you do not need to pre-fund exchanges to trade. You send tokens to the exchanges after the trade, during settlement, just like TradFi. Okay, so let's take a look at how we implement this. Okay, actually before that, some benefits. Okay, so for the asset managers, for the funds, for the investors, a few things. The number one, of course, very simple. You remove counterparty risk because you do not need to pre-fund exchanges. Okay, number two, capital efficiency, because you do not need to pre-fund exchanges. You don't need to wait for your tokens to have all your transaction confirmations to deploy tokens into every exchange. There's no on-chain transaction. Okay, you just instantly get that mirror or credit to trade with on exchanges. And lastly, because we implement this with MPC technology, MPC is a technology that enables you to have full control of your funds. You have a peace of mind that funds are always in your custody. Okay. Next, Something for exchanges as well, if there are exchanges here. Okay. So firstly, with this level of assurance, it gives you more trust, more confidence for your investors to trade bigger volumes on your exchange, especially drawing in institutions. Okay. And second, there's also settlement assurance, because we as the custodian, we can guarantee that there is collateral in their custody. Okay. And thirdly, this also helps deal with some regulatory concerns, especially in the US, because in the US, there are new regulations that says that exchanges are not qualified custodians. So you cannot have tokens in your custody. But now, this enables funds to trade without the tokens in exchange custody. Okay, so these are some benefits for both the traders as well as for the exchanges. So how do we do this? So from step one, so the trading fund or asset manager must be on Cobo custody, MPC or full custody. Okay, then firstly, what happens is you would lock some collateral. Let's say I want to lock 100 BTC within my MPC wallet, and it's still locked. Okay, and it's still in your wallet, and it's not an on-chain transaction. It's just locked. Okay, we would then communicate via API to the exchange to tell them, hey, we've locked 100 BTC there. Okay, Deribit, please give them 100 BTC credit. So they will mirror the 100 BTC credit. They'll mirror the 100 BTC. So you have that mirror or credit line, and you can start trading with it. The trading experience is just exactly similar to if you had deposited tokens on the exchange yourself. Okay, just that in this case you have not deposited; it's just locked in custody. Okay, and the exchange trusts us that we have locked it. Okay, and then after trading, when it's time to settle, then we will receive settlement details from the exchange. Then we will send the tokens over if we need to. Okay, if the exchange goes down while you're trading, like completely down like FTX, then we would not send the collateral over. So your funds are still in your MPC wallet. So this is how it works. Okay, off-exchange settlement. This is a new thing. A few top custodians have this right now. And these are some quick screens of how we do this. Okay, so firstly, you link your exchange account to your custody account. Then you submit, what type of mirror do I want, how many coins, which type of coin, which account on the exchange. And then we will basically lock and mirror the coins on the exchange. Okay, and when it's time to settle, there are a few scenarios for settlement. Firstly, there's a predetermined settlement time for everyone. Okay, it could be for every exchange, it could be different. It could be 4 hours, 8 hours, 1 hour, or you could choose this. Okay, Deribit does once a day at 8 a.m. UTC. Okay, or you could also request to settle ahead of time. Or if you got liquidated, that means immediate settlement. All right. So we would initiate settlement. We get the details, and we will send tokens over if we need to. Okay. So that's how it's done. But I would say this is off-exchange settlement. There are a few exchanges on this. There are a few custodians working on this. This is a paradigm shift for the whole industry, because exchanges have always been very comfortable with holding tokens and investing them, lending them, doing DeFi, doing staking, whatever. Okay, it takes a while for exchanges to come around to the fact that, hey, this is changing. We need to work with custodians. We need to do off-exchange settlement just like TradFi. So this is something that custodians, the funds, the startups, and the exchanges will all need to come together to push as a change in the industry. It's not going to be immediate. There are a few exchanges like Deribit, like Bitmart, OKX, will be KuCoin, Gate, Bybit. These are already working with us, talking to us to progress on this. But of course, there are some of the biggest ones. The biggest exchange in the world. They will be one of the last to get on this kind of off-exchange settlement. So this is an industry movement. We need everyone to ask the exchanges to open up. Okay, so that is something that is a result of the FTX event. So another issue that since the FTX event, there's another big issue that's resulted in loss of trust. There is Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate, Signature Bank. They also ran into issues. So what we're trying to say here is that one keyword: diversify. Very simple. You can no longer guarantee that. No company is too big to run into issues. No company is too regulated to come into issues. Regulation, licensing does not guarantee your full protection against extreme scenarios. So diversify across bank accounts, across stablecoins, across custody providers as well, especially across various jurisdictions. Okay, work with an African bank like Sapo. Work with Asian custody like us. Diversify who you're working with. I'm not saying don't work with Americans, but I'm saying work with multiple companies everywhere. Okay, that's the only way, the best way, I guess, when the world is uncertain, diversify. Okay, so lastly, on a positive note, a positive change in the industry. Despite all the happenings in the past few months, we do see there's an uptake in crypto users, especially retail users, especially in Africa. Okay, I mean, of course, there's been a slight decline, but if you look at the overall trend of things, this is still going up. Okay, so one thing that the custody providers have done is that we have extended into this wallet as a service product. What is this thing? Or in short, WAS. Okay, this is an API suite that helps B2C companies to build and scale wallets for centralized applications. So you may ask, why centralized applications? Because although there are a lot of retail users, we are still actually at a very early stage, nascent stage of crypto adoption. And if you remember, all of us, when we started in crypto, we went to Coinbase, we went to crypto.com or some of these centralized exchanges to buy our Bitcoin, right? So because you can easily use an account with email and password, but for a new user, you give them private key, seed phrase, you can trust that there's a high chance they could be phished, scammed, all right? So this is centralized applications is still a very easy way to onboard new retail users and retain them. So what Wallet as a Service does, okay, especially what we provide, is firstly, we provide chains and token support. Why do you need this? Okay, so firstly, we support multiple chains and tokens so that any company building on, you're building a wallet, you're building GameFi, you're building exchange, you don't need to integrate so many chains and so many tokens. It's all done by this, okay? You just need to do an API call to request 100 Tron wallet addresses, 1,000 Solana addresses, and so on. And you just get the addresses and the wallet's done, okay? And secondly, why do you need this? Because when you have huge token support, if you have two exchanges exactly the same, one exchange supports 10 tokens, the other exchange supports 2,000 tokens. The exchange with 2,000 tokens, they're going to get more users, especially if you support the newest, newly minted coins. You're going to draw in the newest investors. Okay, and at Cobo, we have the largest coverage of coins and chains. We support 70 chains, 1,800 coins. Next, we also have this feature called token sweep or fund aggregation. So imagine when your tokens, your users deposit tokens into their addresses, to their deposit wallets. You have 100,000 users depositing into 100 different addresses. Sometimes, some companies may want to sweep all these deposits into a central pooled wallet for the company to manage. And why do you want to do that? So firstly, it's maybe more secure to manage or easier to manage one huge cold wallet instead of multiple addresses, okay? And also, if the company wants to do some fund management, some investment, some staking, some lending, it's also easier to coordinate from one central wallet. Okay. And for Cobo, how we do this is that we are able to provide this in a very efficient way because you do not need to pre-fund every wallet with gas. Okay. This is number one issue for a lot of exchanges and wallets. When their transfers get stuck, users complain because there's not enough gas. You will never run into this problem with us because we help you pre-fund every wallet with gas, and we're also able to carry out transactions at the lowest gas prices. Okay, so this is something that we help a lot of B2C companies, be it banks, exchanges, wallets, e-payment providers, and so on, to get onto crypto instantly, support lots of tokens, and don't worry about the technical details behind. Okay, and lastly, I'll just go through a few examples of companies that work with us for this wallet as a service. It's a very powerful tool that can help you to build and scale applications. So firstly, there's MEXC. I think they're one of the top 15 exchanges globally, and they actually support 2,000 coins. Okay, and I know that, so this firstly helps them attract a lot of retail users, and also not just that, but they also attract a lot of market makers to their platform because a lot of new tokens need market making. Okay, and for us, we take a maximum of 2 days to support new tokens. Next, there's also Chiliz, also one of our customers. They're the biggest fan token company globally, and they also run an exchange and wallet for their services. They have big names on like Juventus, PSG, Manchester United, and so on their platform. So they leverage our Cobo WAS to power and secure the exchange and wallets, and also all the custom tokens that they mint for all these major football clubs. And lastly, we also work with Alif Bank. They're one of the e-banks in Central Asia with banking licenses and also have businesses in the Middle East. So they raised debt funding, which is secure with our wallets, and they're also developing crypto retail lending with our WAS service. Okay. So this WAS, I think, so the trend of rising amount of crypto users is huge in Africa, and this is what we want to try to help to work with African companies to build faster, provide more token support. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. I'll just go through a quick summary. So firstly, the security incidents, loss of trust have resulted in quite a number of innovations in the custody space. Secondly, we've gone over different types of custody solutions. Think about the criteria. What's best for your organization? And lastly, no, actually not lastly, but the off-exchange settlement is a huge industry movement. It's going to change how institutions trade and eventually also change how retail trade on exchanges. And diversify across banks, custodians. Also think about diversifying across jurisdictions. And lastly, leverage wallet as a service technology to build and scale the B2C applications. Thank you very much.
Thank you, JD. Any questions? Any questions for him? Okay, great. There's a hand over there. I hope that you do feel welcomed to the continent.
Of course.
Wonderful.
I think I'll be coming back a lot.
That's great. That's really good to know.
Hello.
Sir.
Yes, just one question about the off-exchange settlement. Is it available for retail investors or is just for asset managers?
For today, it's available for any company that has a custody account. And for custody account users, most of them are enterprise and some of them are high net worth individuals. But retail, I mean, not yet, but I think that's the next phase of development. Because if you think who has the highest counterparty risk, it would be the companies that trade the highest volumes, and that would be the institutions and asset managers.
Perfect. Any other questions at the stage? Okay. All right, perfect. Once again, thank you so much. And I think that you did touch on quite a emotion right now and point in the industry right now about trust. In fact, just echoing a point that was made by the previous speaker, Gerard Kharat from the South African Reserve Bank, who said that if your market was in a bull market right now, would have full seats. But the fact that we are seeing a lack of trust right now, but as you said, it's giving rise to a new industry in terms of the demand for better custody. But JD, thanks once again for your time. Thank you.